Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new here, my name is Lydia and I am the Witch of Multi-Realms. Today I am going to discuss something very close to my heart. The magic and divinity resides within all of us, and we can manifest our limitless and most beautiful life. To reclaim this magic and power, first, we have to embark on a journey to expand our consciousness. The pathway to expansion may vary greatly for different people. However, one of the most common and unavoidable ways is to go through the dark night of the soul. Now, before I start discussing what is the dark night of the soul, I must give you a trigger warning that there will be discussions of heavy emotions and depression and the talk of thinking of ending one's life. This video I made today is specially meant for those who might have gone through this phase or are currently going through the phase. While it is extremely difficult and very confusing to navigate through these feelings, I aim to provide inspiration and information to help those who need to hear this navigate the difficulty of this time. However, if you feel that you are not ready to listen to these information, please navigate away from this video and come back again on another day when you feel that you are ready. Okay, now let's start and go into the actual details. What is the dark night of the soul? It is a prelude or heralding signal to a spiritual awakening. If you are not spiritual, you can also experience the dark night of the soul. However, you might not identify that with spirituality, but nevertheless, it can still happen to you. When the dark night of the soul begins, it usually occurs during a very turbulent and chaotic time in your life. One area or perhaps multiple areas of your life might seem like they are crumbling and collapsing upon you. These things can go anywhere from relationships with family or partners, work and career-related matters, financial matters, health matters, or the lack or a different sense of self and purpose. So if you are going through the dark night of the soul for the first time, I understand that this must be a cataclysmic shift in your life right now. The kind of questions and thoughts that you might have revolves around choices you have made or not made, the repeating cycles of vicious patterns or behavioral patterns, and a form of belief that you might have had when you were young or in the past, and now that you're finding out they might not be true or might be different. It could be anything in your life circumstance right now, but you can be sure that the emotions that you go through is nothing short of feeling like you are being cooked over the fire in a crucible. Such is the process of spiritual alchemy. I would like to share with you my experience in this journey. I first experienced the dark night of the soul about 7 years ago, and it was cataclysmic because the universe was doing everything in its power to wake me up. At that point, the external world that knows me, which includes my family and my closest friends, thought that I was successful, happy, and living my dream life. I have a company running for 12 years at that point, a relationship that was in its 16th year, and I was living in a foreign country that I love. But deep down, my soul was sedated, unconscious, and locked away in a dark chamber, which is this body. My body would wake up every day smiling, go for meetings, close deals. I was seen and portrayed everywhere, like I have it all. What the world does not know was that I did not feel like my authentic self for the entire time. In that relationship that I was in, my vision was not mine. My dream was not mine. My words were not mine. At some point, even the company and the marriage did not seem like mine anymore towards the end. My sense of self, purpose, and desire were all hidden away like my sedated soul. All because I chose and resoluted to a false idea of love and to hide a secret for 16 years. I think it was divine timing that at this time I met a new friend in this foreign country. And even though she did not know me very well, one day she asked me a very simple yet sincere question. Are you really happy? And I can testify that this is why I believe angels do exist. They come to you in your most desperate time of need, and their light will bring out the truth. So when I started waking up and seeing things for what they were, the kind of feelings that hit me was shame, guilt, fear, anxiety, anger, and the list goes on. Once I've opened my eyes to it, there was no ignoring or hiding from it. So every day while I was still in this situation, it was pure torture, which ultimately drove me to a very depressive state whereby I started thinking non-stop about how to exit the situation, which only led me to one answer, which was to end myself or to eliminate myself from the complicated situation. This went on every day for about a month, and interestingly, it occurred in February, which was my birthday month. And throughout this time, I was contemplating how to end it all without having to trouble anyone, cause more issues to anyone. Basically, it was just daily spirals of depressive thinking. Finally, on one day, when I was getting really close to the solution, I heard a voice in my head loud and clear. You cannot leave the world this way. Your parents will have no closure, and this will be ultimately unfair to them. You need to let go and step out of this reality so you can step into the new one that has been waiting for you. These were strong and resolute words that shook me to my core. Like I mentioned earlier, at this time my soul was unaligned with my higher self and unconscious. However, since a very young age, I've always had an inner knowing that there is a great divine power that governs this cosmos that we live in. So what ensued from this point on was me coming out to our families and telling them the truth, which brought on huge amounts of vitriol upon me, gaslighting, and further entrapment for the next 7 months. And so this is when I'm going to start discussing the subject of shadow work. Because you see, what happened to me was not only actions of other individuals. I also co-created this reality for myself. While I started in life knowing myself and being authentic right until I was in my 20s, in my early 20s. When I stepped into society, I started to let go of who I truly was in exchange for fame, fortune, vanity, basically all the shallow things that I get from society's acceptance, and to make it worse, social media's acceptance. So there is this strong point that I would like to mention, is that the dark night of the soul, or spiritual awakening, is not a free pass to run away or escape the difficult and challenging circumstance that you find yourself in. Just because you're feeling all the chaotic emotions and you're trying to navigate your way out of this complicated situation, that does not mean that you can act out. And why am I saying this? Because this was exactly what I did. During those 7 months when I was in limbo and I was trying to get out of the situation, instead of concentrating on my shadows, I escaped the situation by throwing everything to the wind and became reckless in my behavior, which in the process caused more hurt and harm to other people. Instead of taking time to process whatever that was neglected for 16 years of my life, and facing my shadows one by one to better understand my subconscious and my inner psyche, I was trying to hide my pain and the fear of lacking love with more destructive patterns that exacerbated the complicated situation and life that I was in. If you are going through what I've been through, or you have experienced something similar, I want you to know you are not alone. There are many others like us who are going through the same thing. The key thing to understand is that this is a call from your higher self to wake up from the slumber in the matrix so that you can step into the limitless life that awaits you. When you expand your consciousness, then you can reclaim the sovereignty of your soul. I liken this to us finding ourselves walking through a dark, pitch black tunnel. And this tunnel is so long that the exit is so far away and the light at the other end is so small and you can hardly see it. Now you may choose to resist or ignore the call. You can turn back and go out from where you came from, but you might find yourself going back into a pattern where you go on a downward spiral and your life situation can get more complicated than it was before. Simply put, it doesn't get better. Know for a fact that if you choose to heed the call, help will come to you. You don't have to rush. The emotions are heavy and very complicated very often, mostly confusing. You can feel like a different person every day. So take it gently and take it step by step. Give yourself the time to process it. And always understand that this is your journey, so it is on your terms and your time. We have to take the time to go through the shadow, understand ourselves, both the light and dark side, allow ourselves to process these myriad of confusing emotions, and understand what they are, why we are the way we are, why we behave a certain way because of these different things that we feel. What does that mean? Because when we are able to strip apart all this, then we truly know ourselves. During this period, help and guidance will come to you if you allow it. Your spiritual team and your higher self can't wait to reach out to you. So make it a practice. Go into a quiet space. It can be a garden, a park, or a quiet room. And with no distractions, allow yourself to just rest and quiet your mind. And gradually, you will receive instincts, intuition, and gut feeling of messages coming through. In my earlier episodes, I talked about understanding your psychic abilities, and another episode talks about understanding which spiritual entity is trying to reach out to you. Through these, you can also understand how to better communicate with your spiritual team. Now, if you choose not to take the spiritual route, it's okay. Seek the help and guidance of a professional therapist. Also, do not forget that you can get support from your family and friends. But be discerning. And I will say this with no prejudice. Some of us did grow up with perhaps a parent or an elder or a sibling that might be the cause of a certain behavioral pattern that's the cause of the shadow or trauma. And these individuals might be triggering towards us and make the spiritual journey harder. So if you know who that is, then distance yourself from them. But so, in discerning this, you will also know who are the people that are beneficial in your life, and you should be in their company. This also includes disengaging from conversations that add to the anger, hate, self-blame, victim mindset, shame, and guilt. It is not constructive. While we want to process these emotions and understand where they are coming from, we want to be able to gracefully heal from them. So again, the objective of the dark night of the soul in this spiritual awakening journey is for you to truly know yourself, to know your light and your dark, to know your good and your bad, so you can deep dive into your inner psyche and subconscious and reconnect with what you truly are and understand your purpose in the process. Also, this will help you reconcile with all the pains and challenges you've gone through in your life, especially the difficult situations that you are trying to get out of. And for you, in this compassion, you will learn to forgive and have gratitude for what you went through and the others who were also part of that story with you. Thus, the meaningful teachings of Thoth says, man is a star bound to a body until in the end he is freed through his strife. Only by struggling and toiling thy utmost shall the star within thee bloom out in a new life. He who knows the commencement of all things, free is his star from the realm of the night. I hope by sharing my story, it has inspired or helped you in your own spiritual awakening journey. This is the reason why I felt called to and feel purposeful in my work. When I meet individuals who are going through this difficult part of their spiritual awakening journey, so I can lead them step by step from the dark towards the light and reclaim their sovereignty. Thank you for spending this time with me, and till the next video, take care and goodbye.